All right, we're live.
Okay.
We'll call our meeting for the Edgefield County Planning Commission work session to order for June 13, 2020. And then guest speaker, we'll have a guest speaker, so we want to go do new business first, so I give you a motion that we change that.
You don't need a motion for the work session.
Okay. Review of future land use map discussion regarding the comprehensive plan, discuss the future land use category for the new RA zoning. That's it, that's the new business.
Okay, so on the comp plan, I don't think that we really need to do much on the update for the comp plan itself. It's probably still good for the next 5 years, but there are a few things that I want to specifically change because of the changes we've already made. So this section here on 25, from here up to here, the first small parcels, so the road frontage parcels, I think we should change that from suburban to neighborhood commercial. We don't want to change the large parcels to neighborhood commercial because that would open up some things that we don't want to open up. But the littler, 20 acres or less kind of parcels, change those to neighborhood commercial so that commercial will be allowed on the road frontage of 25.
From where to where?
So just from where the neighborhood commercial stops to the industrial park.
Okay.
And like I said, none of these big
So
parcels.
from right there to right here.
Yeah, none of the big parcels, this is where, blind as a bat. That is where Sharp's Overlook was.
Mhm.
We don't want to change any parcel that big.
Right.
Because the comp plan would change too much on a big parcel like that. So we just want to change from here to here.
Suburban density.
Where you end up. I think that just needs, and that way that keeps commercial uses, this section right here. And that keeps commercial uses possible on 25. I think the suburban density behind it for housing is fine. I don't think we're going to see much housing on 25 in the next 5 years unless they fix the water treatment plant in Augusta. But neighborhood commercial will still allow, small grade residential. So neighborhood commercial will allow residential, but suburban density no longer allows commercial. So we need to change it up to commercial to make sure that we're not blocking commercial out of Highway 25.
Would that still allow a subdivision like that near Bettis Academy Road on the left headed toward Augusta?
So
You know what I'm talking about?
anything, so the PUD that's already there cannot be changed. It's a PUD. PUD is a custom district, so it ignores all other laws. Only the laws that were applied by council at the time of approval apply to a PUD. They cannot be changed by anybody but council and only with the agreement of the developer. So once a PUD is established, it is that way indefinitely until council goes back and changes it. But to answer your question, would other subdivisions be allowed? They would, but anything off of the road frontage, and that's why I'm saying don't do the big lots, do the little lots, would still have to follow that half a unit per acre to 2 units per acre maximum. So they would have to have half-acre lots, basically, which sewer can easily handle that. Neighborhood commercial will also allow residential, but it allows commercial. And if you've got 1 acre lots on 25, if somebody wants to do commercial, that's where they're going to want to do it. And right now we're kind of blocking that off because of some of the changes we're recommending in the comp plan. The only other 2 changes I recommend is to keep the density down here from growing. Let's redefine the densities around the town from suburban to village.
From suburban to village?
Yes, basically we're just going up 1 step in allowed density so that if a subdivision wants to build, around the town is where they'll aim to build it, theoretically.
And that's all the towns are just Edgefield.
Edgefield and
focus-
Johnston. Trenton is fine. I don't think Trenton has the capacity to really grow. And if you look at Trenton, there's already village density around Trenton. So right here, you see this village density and that village density and that village density. I think that's enough for Trenton for the next 5 years. I don't foresee anybody building anything in Trenton, but if they did, they already have space available to do it. So I don't see any reason to modify Trenton. I think they're pretty much happy the way they are. I don't really foresee growth in Johnston either, in terms of subdivisions, but I don't see why we should limit it. So we have a sewer plant here, so we can allow it in Johnston and we can allow it in Edgefield. And
Does Trenton
the
have-
idea is to
Trenton has
know,
a sewer treatment
It does.
try to
No,
de-incentivize
right
growth
there
down
across
here and kind of
Ryan
spread
House.
it this way.
where it stinks.
Yeah.
Billy's, all you pass it
Yep.
right
So
there
Trenton
on
does
the-
not have a
That's
sewer
it.
plant, it
Okay.
has a
Every
pump
day.
station.
They got a pump station.
Oh, they have a pump station. Where does it pump to?
It
All the
pumps
way
to Augusta.
The force
It
main
doesn't
that
have
runs
treatment.
up
To
Highway
That's
Horse
different.
Creek
That's-
or
Didn't
the
it?
one by the
It
air,
used to be,
the
you
Daniel
know, down there
Bushfield
by
Airport?
Ebenezer Church.
Because Horse Creek's
Across
in
down there,
Beach
yeah.
Island.
Okay,
you
and that's,
go
so
to
that's
the-
just the
yeah,
pump
I
station.
think
comes
that
to
stinks
Augusta
all
by
the
the
time.
airport.
force main that runs
Oh,
up Highway
six
25.
inches.
Oh, okay.
You gotta have an app.
And the reason it
Goes to North
smells is
Augusta.
that's the sewage from,
It goes
Saluta's,
from,
dog food plant.
goes from Trenton up Highway 25 and the force
And-
main to North Augusta.
Yeah, that
right
come
there
all the way
at
down,
20.
used to be
Okay.
a pro, what do you call it?
I like having you here
Amen,
because
and all
you
that.
know all that.
I know.
stuff.
I have a question.
Okay.
So as far as the Horse Creek treatment plant issues that we're having right now,
Mhm.
so that's gonna slow down development until they
On
get that.
25, yes.
On 25.
And, well, and
in
Meriwether.
southern, right, Meriwether. Is it a possibility that may push people towards Trenton?
I
Because
think-
they can't develop down
think-
here?
I think there will be a push for commercial towards Trenton.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's gonna be a push for residential towards Trenton. I think if we see more subdivisions, Edgefield is gonna be the target.
Unless it starts coming up Bettis Academy because of that new Amazon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing
But DR Horton's building so much down there, I mean, I don't know.
well,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not supposed to say this on camera, but y'all can just say no and we'll just have to fight that out. I don't
They've-
like that
Okay,
kind of
let's
development,
back up.
so.
They've got a
What?
lot of development right there on, towards the end of Bettis
Yeah.
Academy.
Oh,
It
yeah.
says C.
Thousands
Yeah.
of houses.
Thousands.
And
Thousands.
In
Talking about
Granville.
Sage Creek.
Yeah,
and all.
4,300 and something, actually.
And they
Yes.
haven't been able to attract any commercial development for those homes down there.
Well, they took all the space with
Now,
boxes.
they kept the road frontage
Mm.
open, begging commercial to come there, and they wouldn't.
Well,
We've
maybe
got,
we should plant a couple trees.
we got tracts for sale
God.
that are hundreds of acres across from, behind the old Burger King and gas station
Mhm.
at I-20. Can't get commercial to come in there.
The only
We're
place
talking
they're coming
retail.
is right there at the QT.
Yeah,
They're
we're
putting
talking
some-
retail.
They're grading
Starbucks.
right
Well, I'm talking the
Storage
other
bins.
side of I-20,
Is that
the
what's
north,
going there?
the
Yeah.
north side of I-20.
Mm.
But-
Somebody told me.
Even
I-
with,
I-
even with
Ruby
4,000
Tuesdays,
homes,
Yeah.
commercial's not coming in there. And I'm talking retail commercial.
And there's a
Again,
cookout
I don't
coming.
see it in
Must
Trenton.
be
That's
But the
somewhere
reason I
right
don't
there
see it in
with
Trenton
Burger
is
King or
because there's no
Starbucks.
It's
sewer.
the old nudist colony.
The sewer for Trenton is also the 25 sewer. So there's no sewer treatment plant in Trenton, so it's got the same problem as if they were down here.
Okay, that's what so you think Trenton will have the same
I think-
sewer issues?
Yes, I think we might see a lot of commercial potential. We might have a few people, come in and wanna do an RV park or something like that while they're under construction, but I don't think it would be a lasting thing. I think any residential growth we have will probably be towards Edgefield. And frankly, that's where we should encourage it.
Yeah.
Is to build it around Edgefield and let
Encourage it,
them.
but
and-
all the,
and
all
let
the,
them-
all the jobs are at I-20 to.
I know, but we got no more capacity
I
down
know
there,
that,
so
but-
it's kinda hard for us to, I I don't particularly have an opinion on limiting growth in any one area. The market tends to do that, but at the same time, infrastructure realities are what they are, and
If you don't have water and sewer.
if,
you
right,
can't
if,
do
I mean,
all
if Edgefield County Water and Sewer Authority can't sell them the sewer capacity, it doesn't do us any good to try and encourage it down there. And I'm pretty sure everybody down there is sick of it anyway, so no need to beat that horse. We can just try and move it this way. So, and that's really it. That's really the only recommendations I have for the comp plan is redo around Edgefield and Johnston and then increase the commercial on 25, and that's it. I think it'll be good for another 5 years. I know that April would like y'all to consider extending the overlay from Greenhouse Road all the way down 25 to Edgefield, and then from 25 down 121 to Johnston. Because her fear there is if commercial does get pushed because of the development in Aiken County, we don't want billboards and big ugly signs to be possible, and our highway overlay district has a very solid sign ordinance.
So from greenhouse to airport or past?
So from Greenhouse to the 2519 121 junction, and then down 25 to Edgefield, and then down 121 to Johnston.
Now, that's something separate from your neighborhood
All right.
commercial. That's-
So, yeah, and it's not on this map. I can
Just
show you
because
on
we've had
this.
quite a few call and ask about
There's
billboards. And if we do allow the commercial, that's where we want to put the commercial. We want to make sure that overlay is in place. That way we can govern the entryway landscaping and the buffering and the setback. That way, if it's going there, it's going to look more attractive, and we control and make it look, have that additional buffer. So they're just not throwing Dollar Generals right on the road and not, taking that extra step to make them look halfway decent, so.
And
that
so,
was my
as y'all
concern.
remember, we did expand our highway overlay district on Martintown. So from old Martintown to exit 1, and then right there at Sportsman's Corner, we already expanded that there. Y'all have already voted on that. Y'all will get to vote on it again, though, because I'm gonna bring it all back as a packet so that you can revisit everything together. And then this is very slow, but
So this overlay will limit billboards and.
It requires buffers
And-
and
okay.
Billboard,
vegetative
it
Okay.
has,
plantings.
What we
and-
did at.
Yeah.
Sports.
so our current overlay does not have any architectural controls until you get to large-scale retail like Walmart. I think it's 30,000 square feet. So you won't have to worry about it affecting people's like fences or how they build their houses and stuff. It would only affect large-scale businesses in terms of architectural control, but it does have landscaping requirements for like the entryways, for driveways, things like that. For commercial, it has no restrictions on residential at all. And then it has a really robust sign ordinance, which is what April is mainly concerned about. And I would load this up so y'all could see it, but, yeah, it's not doing that.
Billboard alley through there,
I
we're
know.
careful.
Yep. All of Highway 25 needs to be
The other option, if you want to consider,
It's never been
is
cleaned
to
up.
do a sign overlay by itself. We could do that. But our current overlay basically already does it. So, and it doesn't affect residential, it's a commercial overlay. So I don't really see any reason to rewrite it when
I
all
say
it affects is commercial.
Stick with what we've got, because we're already using it in other places, and just keep it simple.
Yes. And if I could make billboards illegal countywide, I would,
We know
but
you would.
they won't let me, so.
Is there anywhere else that we might visit that would have the same problem or no?
I don't think so.
I think we've got overlays.
So the Sweetwater overlay covers its entire commercial district. So all the way down past the big gas pumps, all the way to, what's it, the Oaks?
Big Oak.
Big Oak, the Oak subdivision
Yeah.
is covered by an overlay. It's all farmland and,
Right.
I mean, well, there's Mount Vintage, but it's all estate residential past there. I don't think anybody's gonna try to put a billboard there.
Unless you want to go from
And then
the
we
intersection
already,
at Billy's.
well, we already did the Billy's intersection.
I'm talking about further out. And maybe all the way from Billy's to Edgefield.
Miller Land is not gonna, like Collars Community and all that is not, I don't foresee anybody wanting to develop anything out there, but if they did, it's not gonna be billboards. You know, if something did go out there, it would be a large lot, you know, farm community type subdivision type. Cause I mean, they'd have to have 2.5 acre lots, cause they have to have wells and septic tanks.
I don't know, I was surprised where they wanted to put that billboard on Martintown when they called.
Yeah,
It
well,
was
they were
just-
right there at Sportsman's Corner, but they wanted to do that because they had an agreement with the owner of the boat RV storage thing. He was going to let them rent a piece of his property to put it on. And I fought them tooth and nail on that until they gave up. And then he wanted to put another one down there at exit 1, but there were already 3 signs on that property, so I denied him on that straight up.
Who was that?
Billboard sign company. And quite frankly, what's the point in billboards nowadays?
None.
They almost playing out everywhere.
I mean,
A lot of
social
vacant
media
land.
is how all the young people get advertising. I mean, young people aren't paying attention to billboards.
I mean, there's,
Old people
I think they're
aren't
okay like on the interstate. That's how, maybe I
I
should
mean,
keep my
I don't
opinion
know,
to
they're
myself.
just,
You can't see them, most of them grow trees. growing
and I
on
can't
them.
say that they're harmful, they're just
You could
tacky.
say they're a hazard to drivers because they're looking.
Yeah, I mean, they're just,
I have seen that.
they're just
Yeah.
tacky. Now, some of the digital ones, like the one in Johnston, I don't know if y'all have driven through there in the middle of the night, but that thing will about burn your retinas out of your
You
head.
try to do what they got.
That's not very pretty.
No,
It's like the one at Stevens Creek.
They
Church.
have this one
Yeah.
advertisement that scrolls across it that's bright yellow, and it's like the sunrise at night in Johnston when that thing comes on
I'm
there.
surprised somebody hadn't shot it out yet.
And,
In the middle.
I mean,
Don't give
it's
nobody
just,
no ideas.
no matter how they do it, it turns out tacky to me. It's not an attractive thing.
When I first put it up.
Not in a good spot either.
Right, I mean, and I'm generally fine with like store signs and stuff like that, even if you want giant golden arches, you know, okay, maybe it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it's expected. Whereas billboards are just kind of,
Random.
I don't know, maybe it's just, I'm anal retentive about it, but not a fan. Regardless, we can't just make them illegal across the whole county,
I
so,
mean, there's a reason you can't.
yeah, it's against state law to make any use illegal in your county. So you have to make space available for every potential use somewhere in the county. So if they want, they can put a billboard here on Jimmy Road. But I agree with her, we don't want to let signs get out of hand if we do see commercial growth. And Edgefield County really could use commercial growth. So we don't want to do anything to discourage commercial growth. But I do think we need to be proactive and make sure the signs aren't going to become a problem. So that is a consideration. And like I said, it would be from here to here to here to here. And I'll do that again over here so y'all can see it. It would be from here, 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 here. So, yes, those main arteries would be what we're talking about. So here's where our current one stops. We take it, finish that off, then come up here and then go over here. And I think that's fair. Those are commercial corridors, so this may be a little less so, but it could become that in the future.
Would you go 25 on the other side of Edgefield City, towards Greenwood? Would
It's
you
too
go,
far from Greenwood, I don't think.
well,
Well,
right, but it's close to Edgefield, and I'm thinking about commercial development on 25.
I mean, it's not unreasonable to go,
How far does the sewer run out towards,
it doesn't, but it,
Doesn't at all.
well, it,
I'm talking about the highway overlay.
oh, it's right there at the.
Yeah. The sewer stops at the old church right before you get to the,
before the Aiken Electric, ain't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Well, no,
a little
it-
past Aiken Electric.
Is it past-
Cause I know those first couple of houses past Aiken Electric are on sewer, but,
thought it
it does,
stopped
I
there.
know that the, old, nursing home up there does not have
Does
It's not,
sewer.
it's not near one on 25 out there going after you pass BP, station.
So it
I know,
ends somewhere
'cause we
along
lucky
in
to get
here.
water up there.
I don't see anything happening past Plum Branch, but we could do that, and we could put a commercial overlay on that. I'm not opposed to
I know
that.
water
No,
goes
I'm
that
just
far.
trying to think further out than 5, 10 years.
Well, we will be doing this again in 5 years. They make us. So, and as you know, changing this does not change our zoning. This is completely separate from zoning. This has nothing to do with zoning.
Right.
The only thing is, the only reason I want neighborhood commercial here is because one of the things we changed was we tightened up what's allowed and not allowed in our land use categories. So I want to make sure that we don't have any out of sync zoning, because all of this is zoned general commercial. And so I just want to make sure our zoning and our land use map kind of match there. I do want to be careful though and not hit any big parcels of land where that could screw us up in the future. But other than that, we really don't need to do a lot to this map, I don't think. I think you want to zone the estate residential area into the rural ag zoning district. I think that is already well established here. We don't really need to change anything for that.
Well,
This
but what's already colored estate residential, you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, that's
Let's go
already,
ahead and change that to rural agriculture.
well, we don't need to change it on this. We would need to, I think this is sufficient. We have to change the zoning to rural agriculture when we get to zoning, which you've
Right.
already done that map.
We haven't done the map.
We haven't voted on it, but y'all already took the maps and
And
drew out what y'all want. And then I will print a new map and bring it to you so you can compare side by side current zoning, new zoning.
This one.
Okay.
But
I haven't
y'all-
seen that
from-
change at all.
From what I remember, y'all want to take the estate residential section on the future land use map, and that's where you want to apply the, yeah, see the yellow?
Yeah, okay.
That's gonna
That's as
be,
far as.
that's gonna be, that's gonna be the rural agriculture district. And up here.
And where,
Up around
So-
ODOT.
Flat 23 down, basically. I think for our first bite, if we want to split it up, is just stop at, Garrett Road would be a good place to stop on the first go and just basically make a straight line across there.
You need to go on at least to Flat Rock.
But we can take that rural ag all the way up. It doesn't matter as long as the estate residential matches, we're good. So anywhere you see this yellow, we can apply that zoning without problem. And we can apply that zoning anywhere that's white as well. Because that is all rural agriculture
So this is already.
undesignated. There are no restrictions in any of the white areas.
This is
It's green.
future land use, so. we
That's
need to look-
zoning.
This is current zoning.
Okay, okay,
So this guides that.
okay.
But obviously, this is not controversial. That
That
will make
is.
500 people show up to yell at you.
But they're wanting to protect. I mean, if they want to protect their land for rural agricultural development. And it doesn't put any
I mean,
restrictions on them as far as
I'll
how
just say it
tall
this
their-
way, I've tried to zone it
grass
3 or
is.
4 times. And,
Well, I
you
think,
know,
like
zoning is just, people automatically think it's HOA level controls, and that's not what zoning is. It's not that complicated. Zoning can be as simple as, here's your minimum lot size, no industrial in this area, and you're done. 20-foot setback from the road. You
It's
know,
gonna
you
take a
can
lot of
make it,
education.
you can literally make it that simple. It doesn't
That's
have to
what-
be complicated.
remember I was talking about the industrial area behind the area where.
Right, now you want that to be, RR,
Right.
to match all the
Right.
rest of the RR.
Right,
It's rural
It's-
agriculture.
right.
It's a 2 acre lot minimum.
I don't.
So
Right,
it's-
but that's
You
for,
want
that's
that
for
go-
the
That's for that.
estate area.
We're talking
for
about.
Well, that's, he was asking,
Oh.
For
he was
the-
asking,
You want to go too rural?
right, it's,
So-
we're gonna
Right.
zone it with.
We
the-
have, so we also have a zoning district called rural agriculture, which does not match this.
Okay.
They're two different things.
But
This is,
the
this
new-
is
the new
comp plan.
zoning is the one that you.
The new zoning is a 2 acre lot size minimum, and it's residential only with a few, like, neighborhood level type commercial allowed. But no industry, no heavy commercial.
2 acre lot minimum.
You can put up 10 flagpoles in your yard if you want to.
Yeah, we don't have any architectural controls on any of the zoning,
And you can
Um,
choose what kind of fence you put up.
but it does have minimum lot size and setback requirements, which is primarily what you want. And then, of course, it is a basic residential and agricultural zoning, so it doesn't allow any industrial and, heavy commercial uses.
Or high
I
density
read
housing.
on that description of it, at the very end, it said something about, being able to do, I don't know, it was agricultural, entrepreneurial type activities, what would that include?
So think Titan Farms, think,
So it could be,
right, I mean, Titan Farms is in a rural ag setting. I mean, it is a
Mhm.
giant commercial farm, but it is definitely commercial. There's nothing small farm about Titan. It's the largest peach farmer on the planet. No, they are. They are the largest peach producer on the planet.
In the world.
Yes.
Really?
Yes,
Yes.
they are.
Are you serious?
No, I'm dead
No,
serious.
yeah.
I knew they were huge, but I didn't know.
We didn't, we
We've
had
educated
sanitary.
I didn't know
So
that.
up
Johnston
to-
really is the peach capital of the world.
So about a
Georgia's
year ago,
not
there
known
was
for
one
clothes.
peach producer in California that had a little bit more land than them. But because of California's watering restriction, they had to downsize their property. And now Titan is got, I think,
King of the world.
9,000 acres of peach.
Oh,
fields.
wow.
These are in.
Now, remember, the footprint of Titan Farms that you see in Johnston
They're
is
in
not
your
all
working
of Titan
folder?
Farms. Titan Farms is much bigger than that.
I can, what I emailed you, the rezoning packet, that's the packet. It's also gonna stay in your working folder in case we revisit this on and off. You can go back and say, look at what they've been agreed on to be that RA zone, the permitted uses, the conditional uses, and so on.
These maps on the computer where you can.
Absolutely.
Local.
They are. It's just now loading on that one. I don't know why it's so slow today, but.
They're kind of hard to read on your computer though, because you only get one that.
And if you
yeah.
want to, you can come by the office. We can print you copies of stuff like this. I mean, we have large format printers. And y'all are welcome to come and get them for free.
You could take one of these home after
Yeah,
we
now the
read.
public, they have to pay for theirs because it's expensive, but y'all can get them for free. And we're happy to actually print you out a copy of the comp plan and a copy of our ordinances if you want them. We can put them in a folder. You can take them home and scribble on them and take notes and whatever you want to do. I'll also give you a copy of the Planning Enabling Act, which is the state law that governs us as a planning commission, our county. And they have a lot of rules. So like an exempt subdivision, that's one thing that we can't redefine in Edgefield. Because the state says an exempt subdivision is any parcel that's 5 acres or larger and doesn't create a road. And if they meet that, they can ignore all of your rules for their lot. They don't have to get your blessing for anything. That's exempt. So there are a lot of state laws that go with that. And so it's good to understand the guide to land use planning because it also sets things like you have 60 days to turn around an application. If somebody makes an application, you've got 60 days to say yes or no, or it's automatically yes. And that's state law. That's not something we can change. That's not something that we have any say over. So it's a good document for you to have as well. Now, just so we don't take up too much time, are y'all generally okay with my recommended changes to this map?
Yeah, I have a question. Are we
Okay.
going to change the future land use map to match what we want to do with the new zone? Are we gonna,
So
So
you
the
mean, do you
comp
want me to
plan-
change the land use category so that it has a designated unit per acre density listed to it?
right, the new zone that we created? Are
Mm-hmm.
we
Now,
gonna
this,
up-
none of this is zoning though.
I know, but again, you know, it's confusing
Right,
even
well,
for the public.
yeah, the public shouldn't be looking at this though. This is for
Well, it's
you,
available
and
online.
that's for the public. So this is law, this is an idea. You can't enforce this, you can enforce that. So this is for y'all to set your future plan. This is where we want to go. This is, if I own a piece of land right here, these are the rules, and you can get arrested if you break them. I mean, it's actual law. It's a misdemeanor to violate. So we have generally kind of made these land use categories match the density of our zoning districts. But rural agriculture here is just kind of we don't really have anything specific rule-wise that we want to apply to that area. So it's kind of the blank check of the county, as it were. And that's also, as you see, most of the county is also not zoned in that area. But we do have a state residential, which already perfectly matches our new zoning district, which is rural agriculture zoning district. And that is as you see right here, half a unit per acre density that's already matches. So we don't really, you need 2 acres for a house, and the new RA zoning is a 2-acre lot size requirement. So that already matches that.
Okay.
And y'all are good with changing Edgefield and Johnston.
Yes.
I probably won't change all of it because we have some stuff that's like up here, and then we have some stuff that's on the truck route. We probably won't want to encourage too much density in some of those places, so I'll probably nitpick what's already there and kind of set it aside. But the majority of it, I will change to village. That way, if we do have future residential growth coming, we can try to steer it towards the town.
The street sign thing right here, that one, it just be
Yes.
grandfathered in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
you
would
got
just
that
be
one.
grandfathered in. So no zoning is retroactive. So if we change the laws, anything that's already been approved or is in place is allowed to continue operation indefinitely. So you can't change the rules on somebody after they've already started, basically, is the idea there. Now, if they cease operation for 6 months, then of course they lose their grandfathering clause and somebody can't go back and reopen it.
So if it burns down and they don't rebuild in 6 months.
So if they apply for a permit and obtain a permit within 6 months, they're good.
They just have to apply for a permit.
Within
Correct.
6 months.
So any decision, so any laws that a county government has in place, the date of the application to the county locks the laws in place. So if somebody makes an application on Thursday and county council comes in and votes on something on Friday and changes everything, the laws that were in effect on Thursday apply to them, not the ones on Friday. So it goes by the date of that application. And we do even have cases in South Carolina where applications were made hours before a change by county council. And they literally had to go to court, and the judge had to go back in the minutes and go, nope, you changed that at 10:02, and they applied at 8 o'clock. That's when they submitted. And it's literally been that close. So that's why I tell people that all of this, whether it be comp planning or whether it be zoning, it's meant to be proactive, not reactive. You can't do it after the fact. It has to be done up front to offer the protections. And I know a lot of people, they see it as you're telling me what to do on my property, and I hate that. But yeah, if you set reasonable rules on yourself, on your property, then you also can expect that your neighbor has to follow those rules too. If you don't want any rules on you, then that means there's no rules on your neighbor either. I mean, that's just the way
You just have to
zoning
be
works.
careful that the rules aren't so restrictive.
Right, but like I
To make
said,
people think that, oh, it's
people
zoning,
in
I
their
can't
head
stand zoning, blah.
hear the word zoning and they think HOA, yeah, we can't have a car parked in our front yard, They think it's the most restrictive thing ever, and zoning doesn't have to be that. Zoning can be super simple.
Well, I think it goes back to how long ago was it, Doc? It was.
2009?
Yeah,
No,
with the
way
LMO.
back when
Oh.
the original zoning.
1990s.
Yes.
It was in the 90s.
And
Fab would know.
the original zoning, when the county hired a consultant and they came in with, and it was this thick, the
Oh,
zoning.
no, but that before then, we had one before then.
It was like 98,
Yeah, it was in the
99,
90s.
2000.
Early.
Mhm,
And I think it was so restrictive. We
Mhm.
freaked everybody out
mhm,
then,
mhm.
25 years ago. And so anytime you say zoning, they think that's what it is. Because I was the one that stood up and said, no, no, no. But they also said, you had to have a brick fence or a wooden privacy fence, or it was ridiculous.
There were fines if
Eh,
your
on-
grass got too tall.
Yes, I mean, it was insane.
ridiculous. Yeah.
It was this thick.
Mhm. I remember that.
You remember that?
Yeah, 'cause
And
I remember
and
fighting
the
it.
school at Meriwether was packed. There were people standing outside, and they had to have deputies there because everybody was fighting. So I think the very first time it was ever said, it was a bad plan.
It was bad, and
It
then
was a
you
bad
get,
plan.
and then you get hit again with that LMO.
And nobody's over it yet.
Yeah.
They're still thinking that's what it is.
Mhm.
So
We wanna live in
however,
the future, not the past.
right, but I mean,
But you can't
that's
ignore
what
the
they
past
know.
But
and understand what
That was
we
people
their
do have to
understanding
of
let
afraid
people
of.
know that not all, zoning doesn't have to be that
Right.
restrictive. I
So
mean,
I-
you can literally just say, you know what, this area, no industry. That's
Right.
all the zoning district does. We're not allowing industry
So I
in this
think,
area.
how do
You
we,
can say no commercial, you can
but
say no
how do we
residential.
present
here.
it so that way, so that they're not thinking about this?
Well,
how-
unfortunately, people do not pay attention to these meetings until I put something in the paper or post it on the website. And then if they read the word zoning, it's an automatic knee-jerk. Now, that being said, they should be calling y'all
Mm-hmm.
or emailing y'all, and then y'all can say, no, that's not what this zoning is. This is a simple zoning. There's nothing but a lot size
Mhm.
requirement and some restrictions on industry. That's it. That's all it is.
I think it's how you present it.
And I
And I think
think
that's
that
the
they
key.
would generally,
Is when we go to, when
some
you
would be
make
fine
a
with it. I mean, some are
decision
gonna
on-
be against it no matter what you say, but.
Yeah.
when you make a decision on what you want and everybody, you vote on it and you wanna go to county council, I think maybe there should be a presentation and of that, because you've got the public listening,
Mm-hmm.
you've got the public responding, and that's where they
Mhm.
listen and respond, and then that's when county council can say, we wanna change these elements, or we like what we have. That's when that feedback comes to county council, and that then changes, because coming and yelling, and screaming at y'all, that's when their voices really get heard. And I think if you make that presentation ahead of the comments, then maybe they'll have a better understanding
And
of
that's-
what you're
Right.
trying to do and what you're trying to achieve by that zoning.
And that's also why all of the things that y'all have already voted on the comp plan, I'm going to bring that back to you before I take it to council, because we've worked on it long enough that some people may have forgot what exactly it is we voted on. So, I mean, I know y'all got it, but,
Right.
the public, so I'm going to pile all of that in one pile, and we don't have to vote on the whole thing. We'll still just vote on the portions we haven't voted on before. But we'll put it all out there for that meeting so that anybody that wants to read it or see it will have an opportunity to do so before I send it to council. When it gets to council, I'm gonna ask one or two of y'all to actually attend the meeting in case they have questions. But also, I'm gonna do a presentation for council for the comp plan update and go line by line on what we've actually changed. And then on the zoning, I'm gonna let council decide whether they wanna do that at the same time or if they want to hold a different public hearing, later down the road and do it in a separate meeting. Because again, zoning tends to be much more controversial than the comp plan. I don't think anybody's gonna show up to harass over the comp plan, but zoning is definitely gonna get a few people at the meeting. So. But I do believe that this go-round, we'll have a few people attend the meeting in support, so.
Yeah, because just like if this type of zoning, which Doc wanted to implement a few years ago, would have happened over there where Trussell Run was, or over here where the quarry was, you know,
Yeah. They would have killed all that.
they would have never even
Well, they wouldn't have
approached.
applied.
They wouldn't have
Mhm.
applied, and nobody would have ever heard of it. So that's
And that's
hopefully
that's another
sticking
complaint
out
that I've
now.
gotten from some of our residents, is that how come we don't know about this stuff until it's, the next vote? Well, we can't. The application comes in, that makes it public. We have 60 days to turn that application around. So we can't give you more than 60-day notice because we have to provide an answer in that time frame, or the state automatically approves it and it doesn't even come to us. So we have 60 days to say yes or no, and we can't discuss it before an application's made because then it's considered privileged. Unless they okay it. So, for example, with Luck Company, they actually came to county council and did a whole presentation before they made an application. So they can do all of that they want to. They can call people and arrange meetings and do whatever they want, but we can't. Same thing for an industry or a commercial business or even a residence. I mean, if it's something that would require them to come get y'all's blessing, like they want to, I don't know, put in a highway or something, why you would want to do that, but maybe they're out in the middle of nowhere and it's landlocked. Until they make that application, it's just an idea.
Do y'all have any more questions or comments?
And y'all are still fairly okay with y'all's potential zoning changes. So this would be the new RA, and then that over there would be RR to match what's already around it.
Well, David and Dustin probably want to take a closer look at that map.
Yeah, and I'll send you what RA is, and
The only
we'll
thing
take
that's
a
changed
picture
is
of
just
this.
2 acres, right?
yeah,
That's
well,
all.
it does have some, it does restrict industry and commercial, like large-scale commercial.
Yeah.
It doesn't restrict
I'm talking about as like an
agriculture,
individual.
residential, or anything like that. But it
Right.
does restrict like
Like
manufacturing.
residential
all that kind of
restrictions.
The only residential restriction is 2 acres, but
Basically, yeah, and setbacks from the road.
This is the use
Yeah.
table. You can kind of glance at it.
And we can email you a copy.
It's
because
in your packet,
20
and
pages long.
it's in the one that I sent you, just as a review. If you look at the RA zoning, this that I'm fixing to show you, it's in there.
But it'll apply to this area that's called estate residential, and it'll go up to 23.
23 around.
Yeah, so basically this.
Yep.
And then this area right here, which is unzoned for whatever reason, gonna change to RR zoning, which is basically the same as RA, except it's 1 acre instead of 2 acre. And that's what everything else around it is already zoned. I think the reason it didn't get zoned was because some people on Sable Lane specifically requested Dean to take it out. But it doesn't really make sense to leave that hole there, so we'll see what he says when we bring it back.
I've talked to quite a few people that live all down through that area, all the way up to like Bettis area, you know, where that,
Nicholson.
and they, you know, they had that first, oh my God, not the LMO, but then, you know, no. And once you explain to them.
Right.
1
And
acre.
RA and RR are basically the exact same zoning district, just different lot size requirements. So it has about the same impact and effect. It's not a very restrictive zoning, like it's not gonna affect anybody's homes.
No. And the reason I wanted to do that is, just so you two know, is because that backs up against the industrial park, like Generac land. So I wanted to kind of protect, and, I mean, they could just move industrial right on through into that area there. So that's the only reason, as a protection.
And then this light stuff, that's not really shown, it's not really designated as a zoning district, and that's mainly just because it's industrial agriculture. So that's your Titan, that's your Costa Farms. And we wanted to designate that on future land use map because it's unlikely to ever change. You know, those big companies, they hold on to land like that for ever. I mean, as long as the company's there, basically. And if they do sell, they'll sell to another business that's exactly the same as they are because it's already set up for it. And then you'll notice a few little spots like this. Those are all, this is like the federal prison, state prisons. Those are actually not part of Edgefield County. They are physically located in the county, but they are not a part of the county. So once you cross onto like the federal prison, no regulation we write applies there. Federal law is the only thing that applies, is you have sovereignty. Same thing for state property. You can't, if you commit a crime at the post office, it's a felony on the federal level, not on the state or county. So any property that's owned directly by the state or federal government is sovereign territory, and it's not technically part of Edgefield. So we designated those on the map to make it clear that, yeah, we can't change that right there. And then the dotted stuff, that's just the city limit signs to make it easy for y'all to delineate where our jurisdiction stops and theirs start.
Now, within this new RA zone,
Mhm.
someone brings a PUD.
Mhm.
I know state law, it's already been decided, they cannot override the zone just for density purposes.
Just for density purposes, that's
Okay,
correct.
So then, when could they override it then?
So if
what
they're
other-
offering, so basically, let's say that they want to do a residential
Before you
subdivision.
do that, what's the
Um,
acronym of PUD?
Planned
Like
unit
planned
development.
development,
Okay.
that's like Hammond's Ferry or Windsor's.
So
Windsor is
basically,
one in Tavern Hills.
the only time it's been challenged was in Charleston.
Right.
And this is what the judge ruled. He said, every use of the property that you applied for is allowed under the zoning district that's in place. The only thing that was different was the lot size requirement. So the judge ruled that it could not be a planned development just to get around the lot size requirement of the zoning district. So what they have to do is they have to have uses, land uses, in the planned development that are different than what's allowed by the zoning district. So
Meaning commercial.
commercial or multifamily or some use that would not be allowed, it needs to have some mixed use element, basically.
So if our zone does not allow multifamily buildings on it, then they couldn't bring a PUD with multifamily.
Sure they can, because that's a different land use.
That's what
But
the
now
purpose of a PUD.
You can turn around and look at this comp plan and say, that's a state residential that doesn't meet the comp plan, and say no. Remember, it's a PUD, they're asking you for a favor, they're asking you to create them as a custom zoning district. You are under no obligation to ever approve a PUD. You do not even need a reason to say no. They can come in, walk in, you can say, we're gonna vote on it, and you can say, I make a motion that we tell them to go away. And you can do that, it's perfect, I don't actually do that, that would be rude. But
Bad for poor form.
what I'm saying is, when they're asking for a PUD, they are literally asking you to create a custom zoning for their property. You are under no obligation to do so, and this document should be the guiding document you use to determine whether they are or are not allowed to do it. So just like with Sharp's Overlook, when we denied them, we went to this document and said, that's way over the density, and you need to negotiate that down, or we're not gonna recommend it. They refused to negotiate and said, we're gonna take it straight to council. So we made the recommendation that it not get approved, or, well, we made a recommendation to approve it if they brought it down to the density required by the comp plan, which is the proper way to do it. We sent that to county council. County council tried to negotiate with them, and they refused to negotiate with council, and council told them to take a long walk off a short pier, which is exactly what should have happened. And again, that's where this document comes in to kind of guide you on creating zoning districts, which is what a PUD is. But unfortunately, the application to have a PUD is not something we can restrict. It's allowed by state law. They can make the application, but you're under no obligation to accept it. You can always just say no. Now, there have been instances in say Greenville, where the planning commission has recommended or approved a change for a plan development, and the citizens have sued to prevent it. That can happen, but it's very rare. And like I said, as a planning commission, you don't have to entertain it. You can simply say, no, we're not going to entertain a plan development at that location. Or you can change their plan, whether they like it or not, and say, we'll only approve you if you do these however many things, and then make that recommendation. But all in all, if it's a PUD, you should be coming back to this map going, well, what did we envision for that area, and does that meet with it? And if the answer is no, then just like Sharp Overlook's original application, we should say X-nay. And I say original because they might be coming back. But I don't know if they can get the sewer capacity to come back. But what their idea now is way better than what they had before.
Have you heard an estimate of when that sewer question's gonna be resolved?
Not really. They redid some number crunching and they got a little bit of capacity back, enough for industry and commercial type uses. But it'll probably be 3 to 5 years before they have a serious renovation out there in Augusta to address it ultimately. Unless, Edgefield County Water and Sewer Authority decide to do a treatment plant and address it themselves, but it's very expensive and I don't really see that happening. The other option that could free up capacity is Saluda could build their own. And if their sewer comes off of our line and we're no longer selling capacity to them, that could free up capacity. But again, even if they started today, it's probably 3 to 5 years for them to build it. So we'll be having that conversation again before that's a consideration.
I don't think Saluda got it on their plan right now, cause
I don't think they,
I
I think they've talked about it a few times,
Yeah, sure.
but
buddies.
financially speaking, that is a ginormous investment. Yeah, rebuilding our water plant is in the tune of 60 million. So, and it's not cheap. I'll just put it that way. All of that stuff is ridiculously expensive. Now, we don't have to worry about that because Edgefield County Water and Sewer is not actually affiliated with the county government. It's a special district, just like a power company. So it's a non-profit private entity, like a co-op. Yeah, it is not a government department. And because of that, unless they can get the funding from the feds or the state, or they can raise the funds, it limits what they can legitimately accomplish. Now, the county will sometimes come and front money for certain things, like do a sewer line extension or do a water line extension, but it's very rare. Because, it's super expensive. Just the Windsor sewer line extension was $400,000, and it went, which went what, a mile at the most.
Where are you talking
So,
Sophomore,
about?
yeah. that'd be
So
South
here's-
Murrah. Goes up to 5 notch.
here's Murray extension. Windsor's like right here. Yeah, we extended the line from here to there, and it was $400,000. Now, of course, we put big impact fees on the development. They're ultimately paying for it, but
No one should do
we fronted that.
infrastructure.
Well, we fronted
Right.
25% of that
It's
money.
crazy.
I
And
rode
then-
through there yesterday and they're still advertising the Greenway.
Upgrade our water.
And we do
Going
own the
through
property,
there.
we do own the
Money
property
has
for
to
the
go.
Greenway. We did make them give that to us. So we do have that connector down there. We have no
To
intention of
Monroe
doing it
Railbed.
right now.
Mhm.
Yes. It
That's
belongs to
our
Edgefield
need
County,
right
so we have that locked down.
But
But they're telling
Is
the
there some plans
buyers
to,
that it's gonna
extend the
get
rail trail
connected to the Greenway, and it's not.
So we have a long-term plan to,
So,
the old
On the Edgefield
railroad
County line?
starts about right here,
which is,
and it comes up
City.
through Beagle Club on the backside, and it comes
goes
all
through
the way
private
down
property.
here to the Oaks, and then crosses
North
Sweetwater,
City
and then
North
it connects
Augusta.
to North
Okay.
Augusta right over
purchase
here.
those.
I can't imagine
Um,
what you
Connect
can
to
There is a
Edgefield.
plan.
$1
That will ultimately
So-
be the connector.
City
It'll
North
probably
Augusta
be more of a
You
bike
said
path.
plan for it.
Like
You know, we don't have the money to buy
A
these,
first.
the access to that
But
private
yeah,
property.
eventually we want to pave
I
it.
ain't
So
got no
they
reason.
have no
It'll be done in
plans
sections though.
to
It's way
extend the
too
Greenway
big
to the
for,
Edgefield County line.
for the county to bite that off.
Yeah, so it's not gonna be
Yeah, I was
connected to the
like, back
Greenway,
to
but
the
their,
store.
Ivy Homes is
Not
still
anymore.
selling it as, they're still advertising it's gonna be connected to the Greenway.
They were here during the last meeting and they wanted to see if they could speak briefly about what we've got going on here tonight.
They got 5 minutes.
But-
If we're done with the business, we could let them.
You been-
I'm finished.
I'm done.
But if you wanna approach and ask the chairman and he can give you permission to speak.
May I ask a few questions, Mr. Chairman?
Who are you now? Let's say,
Pam Averett, I'm sorry.
You look for me, I think.
Yeah, I was here last meeting with the.
All right, go ahead.
You wanna come up here? Thank you.
Just
I
wanna
have
get you closer.
studied this, and we've spoken to a couple of neighbors in the area of the RA. We're 100% behind this, and it looks like exactly like what you said, and I'm glad we came early just to get a little clarification. There are some people who have their own businesses in their homes that do electronics, and that's one of the
Okay.
things here.
That's
So
a secondary
I
use.
want to be clear. This is a primary use table, which means the primary use of the property is that item. So that means, for instance, motor vehicle and parts, that means there's no house there. It's an auto body
Strictly
shop.
business.
Okay, good.
So this does not apply to home businesses.
Okay, so when you're getting this message to the average Joe, that's, you know what I mean?
It's difficult to do. I've had that particular battle before where primary and secondary is how we say it in our nomenclature because we do this all the time. But basically, the hard rules are your primary, and then if you scroll on back to the back of this thing, you'll see accessory uses in here, probably several pages. Yeah, so
Right
you'll
here.
see,
Okay.
you'll see all sorts of accessory uses, and as you see, we don't really stop anything.
Okay, right,
Workshops,
right, right.
sheds, home occupations. The condition, the C on
Yes.
home occupation is you can't produce more traffic than would normally be in a neighborhood.
Okay.
So if you have a home office, you know, and you've got, you shouldn't have 15 cars and a big sign in your front yard.
Right.
You know, it should still be a residentially occupied thing.
You have a taxi
and then-
service worked out of it, basically.
Right.
Right.
Now, if you want to, let's say you're a gunsmith, that's a popular home business that people do in their garage. You can have people come drop stuff off, but you don't need to build a parking lot and have a bunch of advertising. And as long as you meet those conditions, then
Okay.
all home occupations are allowed.
Okay,
But those are all gonna be back here on the accessory uses.
okay. Okay, that answers that, and if I can make a suggestion, and I don't mean this as offensive at all, but you two gentlemen new to this really would be great spokespeople to the new approach to zoning, because they've already gotten, people are mad at them for trying to do whatever, and, you know, you look like a lot of people that I've talked to that are against zoning, and I don't mean that in any kind of way. I'm just saying that you would be great to present this, and that,
I really think people could get behind it. You know, our neighbors, there's some, just like you said, they hear the word zoning. But if you sat there and talked to them about it and you really understood it and that, look, this isn't restrictive, this is just keeping industry out of your neighborhood. And if you don't mind, is the RA go up in our area in Jennings Road? Is it,
Where is Jennings?
we're off,
Yeah,
we're below
Jennings.
23, okay.
So that's Jennings, it would go all the way up to, 23.
Okay, good.
So, that-
Okay.
Y'all right there off Red Oak. I'm right there at Flat Rock.
Are you? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, you know, some of our neighbors and, you know, I think they could really get behind you if you were and I'm so glad I saw your name, I saw you speak last time, and I hope that's not offensive to any of you. It's just, I saw him speak and he lives where we live, and, I just appreciated you stepping up, and, so that's it, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, no more, we need to close this meeting out and get rid of our regular meeting.
There. So we're now moving.
Okay.
Go ahead.
June the audio's bad though. I know.
There we go.
Yeah, audio's bad. You're supposed to
No, fast.
improving audio.
At this time, get my look out. I like to be the judge. We call to order the Planning Commission, Edgefield County Planning Commission for June 13, 2024. We call this time we have our invocation. Heavenly Father, we thank you, dear God, for once again allowing us to assemble here at this spot. Pray, Father, that you would guide us, that we be fair, and we do things in order, dear God, and we do it in a matter that would please you, and also for the good of this county, for the good of the people of this county, and honest in what we do and what we say. We thank you for Jesus. Forgive us for our sins. Guide us as we go through this meeting. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. At this time, I need a motion for approval of the minutes for June 13th.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? We all raise our right hand. I will raise your right hand. I need approval for the minutes of the work session for May 9th.
Make that motion.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor? I need a motion for the approval of May 9th regular meeting.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor of the right hand? Approved so far. We have any guest speakers? It's time to report. Staff report on the major minor exempt subdivisions, and also staff report on land development application approval and denied. Brings up to date what you got.
I will email you those. I did not print those out, but I'll email you those reports. We had, I wrote it down, hold on just a second. 3 minor, 2 exempt, and then we had the land development application approval last month for, Luckstone. That was the major one we had.
Okay. That's it, that's it, that's it. Okay, that's all, okay.
That's it.
No old business. The new business, our new business, we just saying, we got 2 newly appointed District 2 representatives. We got Dusty Doolittle, and we got David Hare, who is at-large representative. So you want to come and swear them in?
Swear you in. Will the 2 newly appointed commissioners stand and state your name one at a time? Dustin, we'll start with you. You can both stand.
Dustin Doolittle.
David Hare.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I am duly qualified,
that I am duly qualified,
according to the Constitution of this state,
according to the Constitution of the state,
to exercise the duties of this office
to exercise the duties of this office
to which I have been appointed,
to which I have been appointed,
and that I will,
and that I will,
to do the best of my ability,
to do the best of my ability,
discharge the duties thereof,
discharge the duties thereof,
and preserve and protect and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of this state
the Constitution of this state,
and of the United States.
And of the United States.
So help me God.
so help me God.
Be seated.
Good. I say we'll exec session, we have no exec session, so now we just comment, we'd like to welcome you to the meeting, and we hope that you join the team, and we believe in trying to work together for what's good for the county, what's right, and so forth, and just, I just say beware of the social media. You know, Facebook and stuff of that sort, you know, that get involved with your planning commission, and that sort, and everything will be fine. I'm hard on that. I'm hard on that. It's just bad that we make promises and stuff that make commitments that we really can't keep. But, you know, if you're making commitments, you can You can handle what you can do in a business like that and for the good of the county. Don't get personal with it. You get personal, you get emotional, and it get out of hand. But we look forward to working with you. Okay. Any comments from anybody else on it? Okay, if not, you better meet the adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor of adjourning? Meeting adjourned.